I'm often asked how I came to be in this role and when I knew that I was psychic or intuitive. Um, I would say that I've been a spiritual seeker since I was 19. And that is the moment I knew there was something about who I am that was destined to be on a certain path. I wouldn't call it destiny, but at that moment when an event occurred, I knew that I could no longer ignore things that had been happening to me since I was aware of them from 5 years on. And I needed to get answers. I needed to. There was no other way for me to live. I couldn't live another day without understanding more. Not only why were these things happening to me, what does it mean about God and life, and how do I manage it rather than it happening to me? Because I started having experiences with the intangible becoming tangible around the age of 5 that I can recall. Formless white shapes around me, flitting around. And it was a little scary, but nothing ever happened to me because of that. Then I move into my elementary school years and I started having experiences with out of body experience, spontaneous, and something I can best describe as remote viewing, where I could be in one place, people could be in another, and I could know their conversations, I could know what they're eating. I mean, really remarkable specificity that there's no way I could know. That didn't frighten me, but it actually all made life fit together in the present moment. I don't know how other way to describe it, but it sat in me really well. Never spoke about these things, by the way. I was raised in an Episcopalian household, very traditional, Judeo-Christian values, and my parents were involved in the church, all of that. Um, and so fast forward, I go into my teenage years and I began to have experiences with precognition spontaneously, mostly through dream state, that I would go to sleep, I would have a dream, and when I woke up within 24 to 48 hours, what I was dreaming about would transpire. There's a lot of backstory in there and different things that happened that I won't really share in this particular video. And the point is, many of these things, they came and went, and I never really gave them too much thought until I was 19. And that's when something much more significant happened for me. A friend of mine who was in my circle of friends died in a car accident. And we weren't extremely close, but there is a story there. And about 3 months after he had passed, one morning he showed up in my house, in my room, looking like a person, not exactly like a person, and he was enshrouded in various colors. That moment was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. I couldn't tell you how long it lasted because it wasn't a time thing. It was a moment that caused an incredible shift inside of my awareness. And I knew that life didn't end with the body. And I became very peaceful in a certain way, even though I never wanted that to happen to me again. I don't want to see dead people in person. But that is the moment I I began to have a voracious appetite for spiritual information. And why is this happening to me? And how do I get on top of it so that it doesn't just happen to me? Two, what is the meaning of life? What does this mean about God? What does this mean? And so that sent me off on the path that I remain on today, that singular moment. And I think that when I reflect, I just kept on having progressive experiences of intensity to get my attention. So then I progressed through my life, and I've always been someone who has done multiple things at one time, even to this day. I was a professional musician for 17 years, but I always worked other jobs, and I went to school, and I was in various industries, in corporate, private sector, and nonprofit, all the while gaining a lot of experience with different kinds of people and different kinds of information, which all was preparing me to do the role that I'm still doing today, where I talk to many different kinds of people in many different walks of life. And rarely do I come across a person that I've never had some experience in some way that relates to who they are and what their industry is. And backtracking just momentarily, I was raised in a family like we all are, good and bad. And I would say one of the blessings of my family was that we were musicians, and we all played music. And my father was actually a music teacher, of course. And being a musician early in life gave me two things. It taught me how to listen, and it taught me how to express without words, something I think is unbelievably useful in life, to be able to have a process without language. And so during my time as a professional singer, um, I got the benefit of healing through music and not having to express through words, even though I was a vocalist and there's language to that. There's also parts that are not language. So all of my experiences prepared me for the life I was going to have. So that's the story. I remain on a spiritual path. I remain vastly interested in what the meaning of life is. And I've been fortunate to be able to interview hundreds of spiritual people and people who are leadership coaches and people who hold positions of authority or whatnot, who have a point of view about life. And so I continue to synthesize their information with mine and offer that to my clients and to people who come to me. And I really see myself primarily as a catalyst, but I see myself as a friend. I am people's friend to help them see themselves and continue to move toward their own truth, where they can make sense of their own life and be happier in general, because this is a challenging experience we do here living. So that's the story. If you ever want to learn more, I have several books, of course, where I outline more details about my life story. The Heart of the Matter, which is also a workbook, gives a lot of detail. The Energy of Abundance, of course, takes off on the whole concept of abundance and how we can not only create with intention, but how we can have richer experiences than what we're having. And it's many ways based on quantum physics. So that's the story. And again, I'm committed to being of service in any way I can. And it gives me great joy. And I feel extremely blessed to be able to be that role in many people's lives. Take care.